Hi guys, welcome to the latest podcast of YarninBlak. Today I have got a great friend of mine on, Aunty Elizabeth. I will introduce you to her in a moment, but first I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that we're calling in from. I'm here in Borwin Q on the land of the Wurundjeri people, and I pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge any other Aboriginal people here today. So I want to introduce you to Aunty Elizabeth Hayden. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, AJ.
Good to see. For people that don't know who you are, who are you? Where you're from?
My name, like I said, my name's Elizabeth Hayden. I come from the land of the Noongar Nation. I belong to the Balladong Wilman and Wajak clans of this land.
Yep.
I am a wife, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother.
Yeah. And PhD recipient too.
And I'm a doctor at that, PhD. that was hard work.
Yep. So tell me a little bit about your PhD. What did you do? What did you study? What was it about?
My sister had a whole lot of our history and stories. So the PhD is about collecting those stories and putting them into a PhD form. So the title of the PhD is Carl Kanyenin, which is We're Sitting Here, a Place to Be. We're Sitting Here Around the Fire, a creative anthology of Noongar women's oral histories of Brookton. It's about my hometown and the histories of us as a people.
Wow,
it kept us a time. Sorry?
I said that sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it was very it was great. I had the School of Allied Health really supporting me behind this. And when I did you do milestones when you do a PhD. My second milestone I did at university, but for the third milestone we all went country, and I had a big event back in my hometown on the reserve where I grew up.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So tell us a little bit about the reserve where you grew up.
Sorry. About the reserve?
Yeah.
There was a time when we lived on the reserve. We didn't have houses built. Housing, they wouldn't give us houses. The government wouldn't give us houses. The town people didn't give us houses. And they allocated us this place called the reserve. And I think every Aboriginal person knows about reserves.
Yeah.
And I think there were 3 reserves in Brookton. And they hold some very great stories for us. A time of trial and hardship, but we had wonderful memories that counteracted all of that.
Yeah. And has the community embraced your PhD and the stories that you've written?
Yeah, family have. The community, I haven't taken it back to the non-Aboriginal people yet, and they want to actually hear it. But my mob, they've actually embraced it. Some of them have read it, some of them haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people taking it off of the internet because it's on the library at Curtin. So that's where it's at.
Yeah. What was it like going back to study as a mature age student?
Not good. Not good. Very hard. And especially at the time in my life when I did this. But there was a story that I carried for too many years that had to be put down on paper. I started off the PhD with my sister, and we going back home and talking about the stories that she held, because she was a storyteller and she was the holder of all of our stories. And she said to me one day, and I went to her because there was a project I had to do from Curtin, and I told her that I wanted to do a story on her. Well, she said, you better hurry up and do the story before I die. And I would encourage all of you people who want to do a story of your family member, do it before they pass away, because I was a few years into the PhD and she passed away. And so I left it for a while. I had a bit of issue there, some issues with family. And I laid it aside for about 5 years. But this this driving passion that was inside of me to finish what I started had to be recognised.
Yeah.
So I went back to university. Interesting, really. It was what happened was that the Allied School of Health wanted a cultural immersion, so they asked me if I'd take them back home. So I organised to take them back home.
Yeah.
And there was no conversation about university for me and finishing a PhD, but we got into a conversation. I said, "Yeah, I'd like to finish my PhD." And so Michael Wright, a very, very great friend of mine, he's done his PhD, he's acting professor now, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said, "Come here, I'll introduce you to such a person." And he introduced me to Courtney Harris.
Yeah.
She's a deputy in charge of the Allied Health, and also to Angus, who was the head of the school.
Yeah.
And they said, "Yes, look, that's no worries. You come and we'll help you with a PhD." So they mapped it out. We sat down, had a lot of trips back home, collecting information and data about the place, and telling my stories on country, which was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And as I told the stories, they recorded, and yeah, that was so
Oh,
special. And
yeah.
they kind of, but I got tired just about probably 3 months, 6 months into the end, and I
Yeah.
felt like I just couldn't go on, but they helped me. The energy had been sapped out of me.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I usually tell all you young people that's out there, don't wait till you're an old woman or an old man to do a PhD. Do it while you're young and you got energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I was trying to work out how long I've known you, and I've probably known you for 10 or 12 years now.
Around about that, maybe 12 years.
Yeah, because I met you when you were doing your mental health first aid instructing
That's
training.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you still do
I did.
that? Do you still do mental health
I
first
did
aid?
that. That was great, and I used that when I was working with clients. So that was really good. Well, I'm trying to get my granddaughter. She's actually a nurse. I'm trying to get her to do the mental health first aid training.
Yeah.
So I don't know how she'll go.
Yeah.
I push her every time I see her.
Haha. So what key messages would you give young people in relation to studying? Just do it.
The key messages I give to young people is walk with pride.
Yep.
Be proud of who you are. Never walk away from your old people. Walk with your old people because they carry your history. And when they're ready to let your hand go, they'll let you go and they'll let you fly like a bird, so to speak. But show that respect to those old people. Walk with a dream in your heart, I think, and carry the dream until it's fulfilled. And the other thing, when you're walking, walk with integrity. So important.
Yeah.
Because the community watches you, no matter who you are, whether you're with family, and if you, they're so quick to pick up mistakes.
Yeah.
But walk with pride, walk proudly in your land, and certainly with your family,
Yeah.
and in the wider community.
Yeah.
That's a message I try. I only gave that to some kids the other night when they had their Mr. NAIDOC and Miss NAIDOC event. I was asked to do Welcome to Country. So I encourage them. The things that make them a man, I'll just say this, I've told my grandkids 100 times. For every grandchild I've got, alcohol doesn't make you a man.
Yeah.
Sex doesn't make you a man or a woman.
Yeah.
Fighting doesn't make you a man or a woman.
Yeah.
Carrying your responsibilities and walking with integrity make you the person that you need to be.
Oh, I like that advice.
Yeah.
That's good advice. That's good advice.
Bit blunt.
Bit blunt, but it's true. It's true. I think that's a great advice that you give out there, Aunt. Really great.
Yeah.
What's when young people, there's a lot of young people that know about their Aboriginality but are not connected to community or culture. If they said to you, "Where do I start? Where can I find this information out?" Where would you suggest they start?
That's a good question, AJ, because one of the things that I really encourage young people is to know who you are. And to know who you are, you've got to go to your people. You've got to find out from your family where you belong, who you belong to, and what's your country.
Yeah.
To start off over here, we've got a lot of services over in WA, and all they have to do is just knock on somebody's door and have a yarn. And my PhD was about yarning. And if you can get a yarn going, you find out so much from people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly where we learn our stories from. And I always say that even as an Aboriginal man, I'm always learning new stories. Every person I meet teaches me a new story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you get those stories through that yarning process. But there's something within that yarning. There has to be a sense of you've got to take time.
Yeah.
You've got to show respect. And you've got to have that interest, because nothing like a black fella to know when you're not engaged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What makes a person an elder, in your opinion?
An elder. I actually did that in my PhD. What makes an elder?
Yeah.
And some of the criteria that came out of the elders, you have to be old anyway. You've got to be an elder, but you have to be recognised as an elder. You
Yeah.
have to have your language. Know your people. What are the stories that's from your land? Who are the people that's on your land? You can't just get up and say, "Oh, I'm an elder today," when yesterday you were just you weren't anywhere near eldership. It's a
Yeah.
legacy that you attain through respect, and the community actually initiates that sense of recognition when you're
Yeah.
an elder.
Yeah. But you would have
And
seen
it's a
over
wide
time.
community. Sorry?
So I was going to say, you would have seen over time some self-appointed elders appearing.
Well, they're all around us. They're all self-appointed elders. Yeah. And the thing is that eldership is not something that's attained just at the snap of the fingers. It's
Yeah.
something that you go through. The experience of, the knowledge that you gain as an elder actually is one of the attributes to being an elder. And
Yeah.
and how you carry yourself in a community. People call themselves elders, yet their behaviour belies that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
eldership is a sacred thing.
Yeah.
You carry the stories of your people, and you carry the practices of your people. Some people don't have practical knowledge, I suppose you could say. But the thing is that there's other ways to know and gain knowledge about your mob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question, but when you were younger, how much schooling did you actually get when you were young?
That's an interesting thing. When I was young, I went to school, but it was a lot of gaps in between, because Dad used to be out. He was a shearer, and we'd have to go out to the farms and go places from one town to another. That's in my early years, so I had a good grounding in some respect, but in others I didn't have a good
Yeah.
So there was bits and pieces, and over the years I think I became a bit self-taught.
Yeah.
But that actually impeded my studying. And but when I started the bridging course in 1988, was it 1988? I think. Yeah, that's when my other learning started. That I was able to then go on and do the social work, and then a couple of other degrees, and ended up with a PhD. But
Yeah.
don't let poor
You are a
education be a barrier to getting education, because it's not. And there's that knowledge that you carry anyway. That's your knowledge. And ouch, just stubbed my toe. There's a knowledge that you carry that's far beyond any textbook that you might be able to access and read, because your knowledge is the knowledge that belongs to you.
Yeah.
And I think as many Noongar or Aboriginal people can capture their stories and write them, before they die, that would be good, because what we're saying, when an older Aboriginal died, we lost the library. So we need to capture that library in written language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, reconciliation's a word that gets thrown around a lot. What does reconciliation mean to you personally?
We just had the National Reconciliation here in WA as well.
Yeah.
It's just gone by. What does reconciliation mean? I think it means a lot of things, but above all, it means if you want to walk with me on the road to reconciliation, you listen to my stories, and you listen because my stories are not easy to listen to. I will tell you the truth about my people, my mob. And there's white people non-Aboriginal people who get a little bit upset about hanging on to the past.
Yeah.
But that's their problem, not mine or any Aboriginal person's problem. Our history makes us who we are. And I think for me, reconciliation now opens a door for truth-telling. We've been pushed back and pushed down too long. Reconciliation needs to walk along the way and sharing who we are and making relationships with non-Aboriginal people too.
Yeah. Yeah. Cultural safety is another term that gets thrown around a lot. What makes you feel culturally safe to turn up to a service?
What makes me feel culturally safe? I feel culturally safe because I know who I am.
Yeah.
I know what I am. I know where I come from. I know my mob. But when I walk into a non-Aboriginal service, when I see the Aboriginal flag on a either flying on a pole or a plaque in their front office, that makes me feel safe.
Yeah.
It's actually recognising that there are people within that system that recognises and acknowledges Aboriginal people. But there are some spaces and some places that don't have that. But I think that people are starting to change. I think Australia's did a shift after the no vote.
Yeah.
I think after no vote, there's a shift. People are embracing the truth, and the truth hurts, but they are embracing it.
Yeah. And I think I love how you said before, Aunt, about that feeling that other people get, like non-Indigenous people get when we talk about issues, is really their problem, not ours. That they need to work through that. It's not our job to help them work through it. It's their job to work through some of that stuff.
That's right. They need to own their past, and that's what a lot of Australians aren't doing. And to me, it's important to own the past. We're happy with owning our past. It's a hard past that we've come through. We fought. Our old people that went before us, they did so much to make the way for us. There's a time when I didn't think I could even enter into a PhD, into university, let alone anywhere else. But I got through that and I did it. And we're not responsible for anybody's feelings of guilt or shame. I think if Australia accepted the truth as it is, raw as it is, and as hard as it is, then they will walk towards a better Australia.
Yeah. Now, you studied social work, didn't you? You studied social work, didn't you?
Yeah, I did social work.
Yeah. What made you want to become a social worker?
Well, I was working in a little town called Northam.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of problems there in Northam. So I was working with DCP, and I had a woman come up from Curtin, and she did a presentation on one of the farms there that belonged to Curtin University. And then afterwards, we talked a bit, and she said, here's a paper for you. She gave me a slip of paper that was an application to go to do the bridging course at Curtin University.
Yep.
So I was interested in that, and I went and talked to my family. I felt that I could manage a bridging course.
Yep.
So I applied and I got accepted, did the bridging course. Then that wasn't enough. Then I went to my family. I said, look, I want to do this social work degree. Will you, or because we were living in country, 100 k's out, bit over 100 k's out of Perth. And will you support me if we had to go to Perth to do the bridging course? So they supported me, and they provided a house for us.
Yeah.
So we moved to Perth, and I started the social work. Put it aside for about 10 or 15 years, and then decided that I wanted to tell Janet's story, which meant I had to do a PhD.
Yeah.
So then I went and I did another social science course. Then I did a course in media, culture and creative arts. And that really helped me do the writing, the way to write, I think. So it was all building up the ability to do the PhD. Yeah. And then having a marvellous team like I did have from the university was just great. The whole school actually supported me.
Yeah. What's your next plan? What's your next plans, Aunt? What are you doing next?
My next plan is I have to go into uni for a couple of days a week and pull out the stories in the PhD. This is the PhD. Pull out the stories in there and turn them into little book forms and write a book. And then I want to write a book, write a play, actually. Whether I do that or not, I don't know. I think I'm getting old. I don't know whether I will be able to carry it through, but I'm going to try. That's the next dream. Writing a story.
Beautiful. That sounds absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
I know I don't have much time to go, but I want to ask you two more questions. And the one is, if I gave you a zillion dollars and a magic wand and said you could fix anything in Aboriginal affairs, what would you do?
What could I fix in Aboriginal affairs?
Yeah. Magic wand, zillions of dollars.
I'd put a black person in there. A black prime minister for a start.
Yep. Yep.
I think, and they have, like we used to have years ago, we used to have advisory bodies that was advising to the prime minister, like that old group of people that they kicked out.
That's it.
They just become too powerful. Most of our states have had strong voices, and then the government would shut them down by not providing funding and that. So I would fund as many organisations as I can.
Yeah.
And I'd fix scholarships for young Aboriginal people. It's the scholarships go into the legal system to get into politics. I mean, that's where we're going to make the change.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then there's a ground level too. You know, sometimes that is so far away that I'd be building schools and hospitals, and if I had that, not 1 million, a few $1 million.
Zillions. I said zillions.
And a millions. I'd build hospitals and schools and mentoring kids to go through.
Yeah. Now, my last question, because I know you have to go soon, is the last question. Oh, I've totally forgot the last question. Is what do you want people to walk away with from our yarn this afternoon?
Sorry, can you say that again?
What would you like people to walk away with from our yarn this afternoon?
I would like them to walk away with the knowledge that read the book about life on a reserve.
Yep.
You'll find in that book what eldership is. I'd like you to remember how to walk in your community, walk with dignity and pride, and be examples to our people, because I look around today at a lot of our old people and they're gone. We don't have many grey-haired old people. Support your elders and give back to the community what the community has given to you.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I think that's all I could ask.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, you know how much I love you, and I'm always following you on Facebook, and I'm always...
I know.
Always
love you too. And I was so glad when I saw your name pop up.
I know. I love talking with you. Please look after yourself, and I want to see the movie. I want to see I want to see the play. That's what I'm waiting for now, to see the play.
Yeah, that's the one that's the big thing. That's my big project. That's my heart's dream. So I've got to do that.
Yeah.
And if you opened up, sorry.
No, go.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, if you come over to WA, we'll catch up and do some more talking.
We will. I'll do that at the end of this year or early next year. I'll be over there.
Good one. Yeah.
Look, I want to say thank you for joining me on the podcast today. Look after yourself. I love you. Say hello to Uncle for me as well.
I will.
Guys, I'll see you at the next podcast. And thanks, Aunty Elizabeth Hayden, for joining us.
Thank you, AJ. Have a lovely day.